Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you so much for joining our Lexful presentation today. Really appreciate everyone having the time, taking the time of their days to learn more about rethinking documentation for the AI era. And what does that mean for you? We're going to be covering a ton of content to introduce myself. My name is Desiree Thomas. I'm the Director of Community here at Lexful. I've been in front of a lot of you. I'm super excited to be opening this conversation today to give you our housekeeping notes. So there is a full chat. Please feel free to reach out to us with any questions. We will have a panel of lovely MSPs that we're going to be asking about how they're using Lexful, how are they using our documentation. If you'd like to do a quick chat in there, where are you coming from? Or if you're brave, what is your biggest pain point when it comes to documentation within your business now? Maybe we can take that to the team and ask the MSPs who are in this panel how they're using Lexful and is it solving those problems? And then to introduce where we have been over the last little bit, it's been a whirlwind. We did GA announcement earlier this month. We have been at PAX 8 Beyond, an amazing show. If you haven't ever attended, highly recommend. A lot of great energy. Also, IT Nation Evolve and Exchange. We also were at ChannelCon. A lot of great networking, a lot of great conversations, and really driving the momentum for where MSPs are and where they're looking to be. And then where we will be next. So if we are in a city near you coming up, we want to see you. If you're going to be at the same conference, we'd love to take you out for dinner. We'd love to have a conversation. So we will be at Lion Guard's RoarCon, IT Nation Evolve in Birmingham, CanIT in good old Calgary, Alberta, my hometown. Would love to see you there, as well as Slide Summits in San Diego. If you're thinking about attending, please do reach out. I've got some information there that I think you're going to want to know, as well as MSP Summit in Orlando. So in today's presentation, just to kind of give you a little bit of a rundown, and then I'm going to hand it right over to our lovely, amazing CEO, the power behind us, the power that drives us, fantastic Pinar. But she's going to go over Pinar. Pinar is going to go over opening remarks, kind of letting you know who we are, why you're in this webinar in the first place. And then we will go over a quick demo. This will be a quick demo. We do not want to bore you with the product because we want you really to see what we're doing so you book a demo later. And then the power in this entire conversation, the MSPs that are in this room that are using this product on day to day and how they're using it. I've had an amazing opportunity to sit down with each one of these gentlemen and ask them the hard questions. And I was floored by their end results. Really, really excited for that conversation. So stay tuned for that, and then we'll be closing it off. Like I said, there is a full Q&A. There is questions also we'll answer at any point in time. So please enter that. And then now with that, I will hand this off to Pinar.
Thanks, Des. Um, okay, so I
I
was
can't
over.
believe she said she was going to bore us with a demo. It's like how could I bore anyone with this incredible product?
All right.
All good. I'll let you
So
go. Sorry for now.
all right, no problem. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining, and thanks to our lovely panelists who is here with us, Joe, Stephen, and Adam, because they're gonna give us actually the view from the MSP's perspective, whoever is using Lexful today. So I am starting with what got you here will not get you there. Why? Because as you guys know, AI is fundamentally changing the world as we have known it, including the IT space, including how MSPs have been running their operations, but also all the opportunities out there, right? So you guys run the world's IT, but up to now, it's really having on knowledge that's out of date, that's scattered, or lives in people's heads as tribal knowledge. Whenever I talk with MSPs, this is the number one problem that they tell me as their number one blocker to more AI automation. Next slide, Des. So every major technology shift demanded a new operational foundation, right? So I've been in the tech space for a very long time. Like with cloud, we needed orchestration layer, we needed cloud management. Same with security. With security, you need security operations, and AI is no different. For AI, you have to have trusted, structured knowledge. Otherwise, your answers will not be reliable at best, and it's going to really affect your client relationships negatively at first. So we see already a lot of MSPs that are getting ready for the AI era, already modernizing their knowledge infrastructure. Next slide, Des. Yeah. So this is the fundamental slide that I like to talk about. Like, why do we even need structured data? Why can I not just use my Copilot or cloud and bring it to my existing legacy documentation solution? Well, the result is the reason for this is fundamental, guys. Like, AI will hallucinate if the context window is too large, which you have with with a general purpose LLM, or if your data is not structured. Uh, and I have my own examples on this. Like, if I, with cloud, that 50% of the time it will hallucinate, and it will do that very confidently, so you won't even realize it. And if the data is not structured, also the AI will go in and it will make things up because the context is not super clear to it, but it will still give you an answer. And a lot of the time it might be hallucinated. So Lexful, as an AI native documentation solution, starts with MSB grade AI at the foundation. So what does this mean? Number one is we context engineer the LLM to live in the MSP and IT world. Like, everything your LLM is doing in Lexful is giving you an answer as an MSP insider. This is huge. So this already cuts a lot of the hallucinations from using a generic cloud or Copilot. Number two, this is equally important. When we migrate from your existing legacy documentation tool, we transform that data and we structure everything in a knowledge graph and connect assets in relationship to each other. So now when you're asking Lex a question, it doesn't need to hallucinate because it will just follow that knowledge graph. And if it cannot find something, it will also tell you so. And of course, as an MSP grade AI and as a documentation solution, of course, we have record level access control, zero trust framework. Your data never trains neither our models nor the models out there. And we keep your knowledge up to date with our skills and, of course, all the existing integrations, which is also fundamental. So once you have this framework, then you can really start having some fun with AI. Next slide, this. Yeah, so there's what's going on. All
Yeah,
right,
that's
thank
okay.
you.
Sorry.
All right. So this is what I was saying, right? Like, when you ask a question, which firewall at Acme are out of warranty, it will follow that graph, and when it answers you, it is actually doing so because it knows your client. It is not just giving you an answer. Next one. I think, like, this is it, right? This is where we go into a demo.
Yeah,
All right,
demo.
perfect.
Woohoo! Over to me. I will share my screen, everyone. Hey guys, so yes, I have the tallest order in the world. I have guaranteed I will get under 10 minutes for this demo, but obviously I have way more than that to go through, so I'm just going to give you some high level and hopefully I give you enough excitement about Lexful to sign up for a real demo from one of our team. And what do you call it? URL is just down the bottom right of my screen. Please just go for lexfulai.demo/demo at any point and you can see more. When you first open Lexful, you're going to see something like this. And just on the right here, I've got a sort of table of contents that I'm going to run through quickly in 8 minutes. So follow along there. This is what you see. Deliberately designed because if you've used a structured documentation tool before, you're using one currently, you should be fairly familiar with the kind of information you're seeing on this screen. This will not look unusual. A bunch of assets to help you do things in your tickets, a bunch of documents with your SOPs and your reference documents and wonderful things like that. The configurations, your assets, your devices that you manage from your tools. So this all looks and feels very familiar. Nothing groundbreaking there. You'll notice, of course, that we have AI right on the side. We don't have your typical old school little AI box at the top right that says, "Hey, ask me anything," and then it gives a really lackluster response. We've got Ask Lex, which actually inhabits a good chunk of our real estate right now because we want to actually use this documentation and become a knowledge operations tool, not simply a document tool. So Ask Lex we're going to look at in a second, but before I go to Lex, I'm just going to take it out of the way for a second. I just want to sort of give you a quick tour of the sort of human UX side of Lexful, because it's an important part of it. We still have human beings. We're not all AI yet. So let's have a quick look at what it looks like. Actually, I'm jumping ahead so quickly. Let me just answer the two questions you're all asking before we start. We talk about migration without mayhem. Migrating your existing documentation into Lexful, we make as mayhem-free as we possibly can. If you're using an existing tool, we'll get all that data in. We have this cool technology, which we call warehouse integration. We have a really great warehousing system where we can take a bunch of your data sources right now, PSA, RMM, soon to be Microsoft, ScalePad, Huntress, EDR, etc., etc. Bring all that information into our warehouse, do some magic with it, dedupe, merge, make some really sensible decisions, and then migrate it from the warehouse into Lexful documents. I know that syncing in the MSP space is both a love-hate relationship. You want everything to be in place. We know it's tough. We know that us as software vendors sometimes don't make it easy for you. I'll just give you a quick screenshot of the kind of thing it looks like when you filter from the warehouse into Lexful documents. I just want to bring in my active internal things right now. I just want to do a phased approach, and then I want to bring my customers in. Then I want to bring my vendors in. We can do that for you. None of this kind of select all, bring everything in, because we know what that looks like in your documentation tool. So that's migration, integration. Bare bones, you expect it, we deliver. Human UX. You can see we look good. That's what we intend to do. If I go into configurations, we can nicely sort of just filter and group via some tags that I've set up. I can customize these and color them, make them beautiful. I could do a quick view into a configuration and see what it looks like. It looks good. It's tagged in different ways. I can edit in line, all the sort of stuff you'd expect. If I want to go into the full view, open it up, see any attachments, any relationships, role-based access control. This is not doing anything other than what you'd expect from a documentation platform, but we have it all. It looks good, feels good. It's easy to navigate around. If I go into a document, one that was mostly AI created here, forgive the dark mode. We just can't resist dark mode, and my mermaid diagram doesn't quite look perfect, but it's pretty nice. This was actually created by AI, little skill that I put together. Really nice document editor. I can go in. There's all my mermaid code from that network diagram that created. I can, do all the things you'd expect from a document editor. Add rows in my tables and do a little AI skill on it as well and standardize the formatting. So really cool document editor. Again, attachments, relationships. Let's discard those changes. Attachments, relationships, what happened, where's it come from. If there's integration sources, you'll see them there. So that's assets, views, search. I know that many of you on this call do not like searching in documentation. It doesn't work. We fixed it. That's the first thing we did with AI, because it's like, we know it's broken, fix it. I'm going to go in, I'm going to type domain admin password for one of my clients, which is called Mountain View Markets MVM. And I do a search, and we're doing a keyword search as you expect. We're doing a semantic search as you expect. And they're like, where the frick is my password? Why have my team not named it domain admin password? Because that's what I want to find. So one click, let's bring in Lex again. So yes, keyword search in this particular case didn't find it because my team did not name that password correctly. So let's go and actually use AI to be a little bit more context aware, thinking about it. Everything Pinar said about a context engineered LLM working on your data and not going out into the internet and hallucinating says, do you know what? I've got several admin passwords, but I don't find something that says domain admin. I've got a thing called a server administration with this name. Does that work? So I'll click on that, like, perfect. This probably is the domain admin password. Someone called it server administrator. I can go in and rename it. I can use it. I can do my job. So search, you'd expect it to work. AI really helps search. I'm going to skip past tagging and no, yes, I am. Tagging and role-based access control, great tools. They make sense. You'll enjoy using them. Let's do something cooler with Ask Lex. I'm going to go to my client, Mountain View Markets. If I could spell them out. And so as soon as I go to this client, I am now sort of context. Lex has the context of this client. And if I even want to further contextualize it, I could say, look at the documents I'm looking at and click this button and just bring context into just these documents. So Lex has been able to do context stuff as we go. In this particular case, I just don't even have time within 10 minutes. So we've got 3 minutes left. And if I start Lex doing the cool things it'll do, it's going to take too long. So what I'm going to do is actually go back to a previous one that I ran, and you're just going to have to trust me that this really was AI running. What I did here was just say, create me a BCDR report based on a template that I've created. I used AI to create the template by looking at my data and saying, look at all my backup documents, create a template based on these because it's really good. And it created that template. It references that template. This is the template it created. It's just blank. It's placeholders. It's the kind of thing your service manager has written for your backup team. So I just say to Lex, go off and use that and create something from my company using all of the assets and create something that really works. And it just spits out a document, as you'd expect, brings in the information, then says, do you want me to save this document? And I say yes, and it saves it here. So this then just went in, it found all my Datto devices, it looked at my replication schedule from a document, looks at the media types, the health tests, it's looked at all the servers that I'm backing up. This is all AI generated. I did not do this. It's looking about applications that sit on those servers. So if I'm backing up, what's the business criticality to the business? A little bit of information about how to recover those things. Look at this thing. I mean, this is one of the best backup things ever. This is better than our backup specialists sometimes produce. No offense, Adam.
Tom,
So that was a skill, and I can run that skill on other clients, and I can adapt it, and I can go and say, is this up to date? Have we changed anything? And AI can go and then run great context on it. Des, I am 1 minute off. What's the question?
perfect. No, you're doing absolutely amazing. And I know that you're doing fantastic with the time. Your presentation is not boring. I'm sorry for saying that. It looks
That's all
absolutely
good.
amazing. But there is a fantastic couple of questions that the Mr. Brad Gross
Cool.
has asked in the chat. And I love these questions. So one of the first ones was, how does Lexful handle questions where the answer is not just sitting in a single document?
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome question. I think one of my favorite things with an AI powered documentation platform is the way it can have this very global view. Global within your documentation boundaries, not within the internet. This Lex does not talk to the internet deliberately. We don't want to bring in how some random guy on the other side of the world builds a workstation to deliver to one of your clients. We want to use your documentation to do that. But one of the great things is I could say to Lex, look at all of my documents about building a Windows 11 workstation. Pull all the sort of commonality together and build me an SOP that is our core documentation, our core SOP for everything. I can then say, okay, I'm going to store that in a shared area of Lexful, and then I'm going to go client by client by client and say, okay, for this client, we need to do this. For this, we need to do this. For this, there's a bit of extra work. And you can actually use AI to really scour all those documents, bring it together in a useful, summarized way to both build templates and develop information. I can I've got a skill which I can just look at any of my internet summary documents. I've literally got this guy here, this document, again, similar to the backup one. I got it to build. And I've got a skill where I can just say slash internet summary update. And it'll go find any documents that have the title internet infrastructure, because that's the kind of prompt I gave it. And it's going to check those diagrams against my configurations and my firewalls and my internet providers and all those things, and basically tell me, is there anything that needs updating in those documents? So this is the kind of work that would take, you create yourself a proactive ticket as a tech, and you'll spend 2 hours one Friday afternoon doing this work. Why not just have a skill that you get AI to go off and basically do that work for you? Say, hey, here's some ideas. Here's some things we need to update. And you can see it's just kind of whirring away. Let me get more detailed on the network. Let me get the full details on the network. Come on, AI, come on. I'm outside my 10 minutes now, but it's still good. It's still less than 2.5 hours. It's
We are going
30
to hand it
seconds.
off to the panel, but there is still an additional question that I think that
Do
you
it.
can speak to quite quickly as we hand it
Yep.
off to the panel. Um, how, can you let everyone know how Lexfil distinguishes between something that it actually knows from documentation versus what it might infer, or will it leave it blank, or how is the setup for that?
Yeah, good question. Actually, probably a longer answer than I have time for. I think we're all in the world learning how to prompt well. And one of the things about AI that I almost, as I'm working with some of your teams and your teams, tech teams, that are engaging with us, I'm actually quite surprised how prompting maturity is not as mature as I expect it to be within the MSP techs. I don't want to be too judgmental. I'm trying to keep my words carefully. But you type in a prompt and it's like it doesn't quite give you what you want, so you prompt it again and you prompt it again and you tweak it and go. And I think that's kind of the approach to the answer to the question, but I'm sort of forgetting the question. The idea is iterate, and challenge Lex and say, well, where did you get that from? Is that from a source doc or is that from your brain making things up? And one of the things we have is things like it'll actually show you where the source docs it's querying, which assets it's using, and you can actually ask it to do that. And then, of course, when you get to the end of this iterated prompt, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, my little secret, it's not a secret, it's the thing I do all the time. You just say to Lex at the end, say to your Claude, say to your Copilot, okay, we've just had this chat. Give me a prompt that would have achieved that in just one prompt at the beginning. And then you've taught yourself how to prompt better for next time.
Thank you so much. That is
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and in general, guys, like one of the key things about Ask Lex is if it does not know something, it will tell you. So it will not
Yes,
just
really good
make
call
up
out.
stuff because of the knowledge graph. Like that's the whole point of this MSP grade AI. But great questions. Thank you. Thank you. And from a SharePoint and the attachments, you can actually just like bring the attachments and Ask Lex will get that as context. That was one of the questions.
Absolutely. Love it.
And
Thank you,
now with
guys.
that, we'll bring
Welcome to the
in our
panel.
lovely panelists. Tom, I'll let you hand this off.
Thank you. Yes, I'm going to switch mode from demo to facilitator. I hope my voice you won't hear too much because I really want these three guys and Pinar to be the voices you hear in the next. How long do we have, Des? Time check on you?
You're at 24 minutes, so you've got
Yes.
a good time for a panel here.
We got 20 minutes to do the panel, right? I
Just
just want
over
to know my
half.
end time. I need to know an end time, that's all. Or you can
Five
butt in and
minutes.
tell us when we're close.
We just need 5 minutes to the end of the hour.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We have lots of time. Good. I really want to introduce you to these guys. If you've been traveling with Lexful at all, you've possibly even met them before because they've been super influential in helping us develop a really great product. They were there right from pretty much from ground zero in our development, even before the world knew about Lexful, even before I personally knew about Lexful. These guys were already in the running. So appreciate Joe and Adam, who work at Transformative, and Stephen, who runs Descent IT, for joining us. I'm actually going to jump in and ask Stephen and Joe to sort of give me a quick intro to their business, but feel free to make it a slight personal intro as well to introduce to the guys. So Stephen and Joe particularly, you're established MSP owners who have a ton of experience in the channel and have used a wide range of software tools to help build your businesses. I'd love you to give us a brief profile of your specific MSPs, your teams, and perhaps your operational maturity level, if you dare to share it, of kind of your organization.
We made an assumption that I went and did that whole OML, interview, but so Joey, if you don't mind, I'll go first. So Steven Serig, president of Descent IT. Descent IT is actually a new business that started in 2025 as an AI first MSP from the ground up. And that vision really came from 20 years of doing it the hard way, or how everybody's currently doing it. And really just having the opportunity to reimagine how an MSP could operate with AI, with talented people, and in collaboration with AI. So we went AI right off the bat, and we target our challenge to ourselves was to target the edge cases of the MSP community, the not target client profile clients, the ones that are too small or too big or want too much integration or whatever. So we specialize in ultra small clients and like really needy co-managed clients, like fully integrated, fully transparent. They are part of our team and we do daily meetings with them. So that's where we focus and thrive, and this tool Lex has made it a lot easier for us. So hopefully that answered all your questions there.
Love that. Joe, over to you.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I similar to Stephen, we've been an MSP before there was such a thing as an MSP, and learned all the things the hard way because we didn't even have the tools y'all have now. Grandpa had to walk to school uphill both ways. But in 5 years ago, we rebranded as Transformative, really with a focus on really what this moment is presenting us right now, which is a very transformative moment. Forgive the slight pun. And really what we saw as a need in the market for our customers to start delivering outcomes versus tools. And the promise of all this modernization and shift to the cloud was that people are going to be able to do more effectively and more efficiently. Turns out we just gave people more tools. But AI now really is an opportunity to realize that promise of truly enabling humans to excel and to ideate, be more creative, and have more meaningful engagements with their clients. And that's really what we're focused on right now as Transformative is helping our clients, but also we're helping other MSPs to meet this moment for their clients as well, and share the knowledge that we've learned on this journey. So that's just a little bit about where we're at. And I would say the last thing for us, kind of dovetailing into probably where we'll go next, is really just seeing a need for us to be customer zero, which I think is what Stephen really founding his company on, is a need for us to take the lead. Because if we don't understand it, how can we possibly advise or recommend or deploy or adopt that solution that we're not using?
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like with AI, that's even more so than like cloud digital transformation, that kind of stuff. Being client zero and being the leaders, at least being a couple of pages ahead of your customers, hopefully on the AI journey. So I'd love to hear briefly from both yourself, Stephen and Joe, and I'm going to bring Adam in a second as well. You joined the Lexful journey quite early, as I mentioned. So even before I'd heard of Lexful, you guys were already using it, which I'm a little jealous of, but thank you. What initially drew you to the Lexful vision and the Lexful story?
Stephen, I'll hop on this one. We'll tag team.
Go for
And
it.
I think for me, selfishly, I'm a product designer and experience designer. That's where my career started, and that's what a lot of what I bring to Transformative is trying to think about that, people, process, then tools. What are those people going to experience? And how is the process that we're going to provide them going to enable them? And then which tool, that is going to support that process. So I selfishly love to get in early on a product, because I'm opinionated. People who know me know I like to talk. Adam knows that, but I definitely I geek out getting in the weeds and figuring out how can we make life better tomorrow for everyone on the other side of this tool. And this, I have to say, I've had the fortune of, in the last 7-8 years now, of being involved in a number of early product design and feedback groups. This was one of my favorites, partly because I had been on an early journey, in 2013 with another solution in this market. And so it was very meaningful for me to be able to come back and reinvent that idea with Pinar and the team at Lexful and be a part of this journey.
Love this.
Yeah, I
And
really
by the
like
way,
business
Joe and I
transformation.
first met in 2013, and you can see from LinkedIn how we met. Sorry,
Nice.
please carry on, Stephen. Didn't mean to.
No, no, no. I love it. I think you said it really well, Joe. I mean, for me, I think it was two things. One, starting out, so there's so much experience you collect over the life, and so many, you talk about people and process and then the tools. And after 20 years of being in the business and seeing the frustration with people and the process with the tools that we had available, this was a really interesting opportunity to help shape how our team can experience documentation and workflows with AI, and like to help shape that for the future and the entire community to use, because it's a great product, was really exciting for me. And the development experience with my team and the Lexful team was fantastic to be able to say this works, this doesn't work, and things getting fixed and built. The entire experience the whole time was really rewarding, to be able to help do that and help this community in a way that I think is going to be really impactful for the next 20 years.
Yeah. Thank you so
That's
much. And yeah, right back at you both. I just thank you for the partnership in helping us do what we do, because obviously we would be different without your leadership in it. And I'd love to put you both on the spot a little bit as business leaders. Again, Adam, I'm coming to you. Don't fall asleep. Um,
No rush.
This you sort of dodged the OML question, Stephen. I'm happy if you dodge it.
Yeah.
This one's a
Yeah.
little bit putting you guys on the spot, and I really want us to be real about it in the MSP community because I sort of alluded to it earlier. How would you both categorize your team's AI fluency, maturity, and readiness right now? And bearing in mind, we are all on a continuum of learning in AI and the planet. I'd be interested to know how that customer zero initiative you mentioned, Joe, is going in terms of your team's AI readiness and fluency.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely it's a commitment and it takes time, and you have to remember that it has to push across the whole org. We started this journey 2 years ago, making a very conscious decision to move out of the tools that we were using because they were not enabling us to be transformative into tools that we knew were going to be a better serve us in this era that we're already deeply in. And so that doesn't answer your question about our deep OML. I think we're really strong at the top right now. And this in these last 3-4 months, we've really started to push further down into the team, and certainly obviously the team on our side being involved with Lexful, but also just elsewhere in the environment without naming solutions and getting into marketing for other platforms. We are really embracing bringing other tools down into the environment, principally at the service delivery layer, which Adam can maybe speak to a bit. But
Mhm.
that's really, and also we're out front, similar to Stephen, I suspect, in trying to enable other companies. We're already building. We already have commercial product in the market. We're already creating programs to be able to help operationalize this AI, not as Microsoft likes to say, absorption versus adoption, really be
Hmm.
living it, not just buying licenses.
Hmm.
Mhm.
But we
Awesome.
we definitely have more room to more work to do to bring everybody up to the same
For
level as
sure.
those of us really pushing the
Yeah.
market.
And,
Yeah.
and fascinated about that sort of top-down feeling. I think I feel the same way because there's so much power in the AI for the C-suites of companies everywhere. It's just, oh, all this stuff we can do and all this very speed thing. It seems to be a bit of a top-down
It's a
trickle from leadership,
huge
more so
problem.
than some tech coming from bottom up, right?
It's a huge problem for everyone because the cool ideas that we have can now be the cool shiny object syndrome can now be like realistic. Um, so sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there,
Not at all,
Tom.
man. That's perfect.
The for us AI fluency, I got to really reimagine how we do things. So we started with AI first, and I would say 2 years ago, AI was me pushing it, and now everybody is, Anthropic, getting Anthropic certified or Anthropic certified already. So the process of building our own AI engines and models and tools inside of our own company and integrating with all of our vendors has changed the way we make decisions, has changed the way we train, the way we think, the way we operate. And with that transformation comes learning lessons of how to properly prompt and what you can do and what you shouldn't do, or things you can do that you shouldn't do. But I would say we're very mature now in the fluency level. But even as a small company,
Hmm.
because we're only 7 people at this point, it was harder to get everybody to adopt than I thought. But once they saw the power of what it can do and how it can really make their day-to-day life better, it happened really quick.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
everybody on our team now is very fluent and uses it every single day, but it's not required.
Yeah, yeah. And having worked with a couple of your team, I could say that they encouraged me and informed me about AI as well. And so, yes, it's a
I
team of
like to
seven,
push the
but
boundary.
I'm pretty confident you're doing the work of 15. So with the AI for now.
Yeah.
Awesome. Adam, I want to bring you in. I feel like Joe kind of teed you up a little bit with what he was mentioning about sort of service delivery and tools and things like that. I would love you to just get very tactical right now with us and tell us just maybe one story of something that Lexful has really positively impacted your work and your team's work and how Lexful does something really cool.
Yeah, well, during your demo, you actually hit on a few of the things. You were doing a demo, but we're doing it for real. Um, quite frankly, compared to other tools that I've used over the years, one which was definitely my favorite. To be short, Lexful does everything it does, except Lexful has the AI component. You can't go into other tools and ask Lex, hey, list out all the Meraki equipment for client X. Create a statement of work for me real quick because I want to replace it all. And then it does it. 20, 30 seconds later, you've got a full statement of work. The equipment needs to be replaced, expiration date. Um, that's one example. Another example is, for us, we've actually been, well, personally, I've always been very good at organization. So I've always done well with other tools. And I've always trained my team to do well, to follow what I do. However, if you hire someone new or they're not used to seeing the Atom way yet, well, again, with Lexful, all they got to do is forget the search bar, just go straight to Ask Lex. What is this? How is that? And just, you guys are talking about prompting and all that. In my opinion, and I spoke with my team this morning, specifically about Lexful. The prompting isn't that important with Lexful because of some of the things you hit on. It doesn't go to the outside world. It doesn't look, the only information it has is whatever you put into it. And so therefore, even if you're, you don't have to be a prompting expert to get useful information out of it. You simply say, hey, for this client, and then whatever version of a sentence you can come up with, it's probably going to work for you. It's because it's going to be just fine. It's not
Love
that
it.
complicated. And definitely, if you want to get to real details, which I did a little bit of, like, specifically list out in the statement of work the serial numbers and expiration dates, like, that type of stuff to really tailor the results. Yes. But doing general queries or another example is we have a lot of documentation. How-tos, new user setup guides, offboarding documentation for every single client. We have a whole list of various things we try to make sure we have for each client. And so it's very easy. One of the things we did recently is we use Halo PSA and we wanted to make a checklist. And so we have some of our how to set up a user offboard is kind of long documents, but one of our techs, one of our engineers went in and simply said, create me a quick checklist based off the new user setup guide for this client. And then, 15 seconds later, it took a 4-page document and broke it down into 12 simple steps.
Yeah.
Pretty accurate steps. And then, of course, something you had already said, Tom, which is very useful, is it does point out where it gets its information from. And so you can see why it tells you what it tells you. And again, that's very useful because, sometimes your documents aren't as up to date as you thought they were.
Oh,
Never.
So,
really?
exactly. But yeah, so I mean, really all I can say is, Lexful does everything that all the other tools out there does, except now you have this agent that's built into it, and it's built in a way that's actually working and working effectively. And one of the main things is with a tool like Lexful, you kind of have to rethink how you think about documentation management. This is not legacy documentation management. This is today's documentation management. And once you start kind of thinking about it, like, oh, I can do this, I can do that. Our team almost daily is like, oh, I decided to ask Lexful, like, scan all the computers and show me all the Lenovo's, whatever, for, because, to create replacement documents, whatever. And it just does it.
Love it. Love it.
You can't search for that on other tools. So,
yeah. Thanks, man. There's a few things you said in that whole thing where it's like, I get why we get on so well now. The Adam way, not the, it's like you have documentation, you need people to get it, but I love that stuff. And, checklists are I could have written the checklist manifesto, that book, because checklists are the best. And to be able to, as you say, just generate them out of documentation, like how cool is that? Love it. Just one thing to add in for the
one thing,
crew.
I mean, Adam,
sorry, Stephen, please go ahead.
What you said about the training, the Adam way, like there was the Steve way of documentation in our platform, and I underestimated initially how much training people actually needed to use our old documentation system that I no longer need to do. And I think that's really important for people to understand. Like, it's a documentation system. You can just put anybody in front of it and go. I put an intern in front of it the other day. He was able to find effective documentation that was relevant to what he was doing with zero input from us. And that was not happening with the old system.
Beautiful. Love that. Yeah. And every time you as a leader walk into your service desk room, I mean, a lot of us are virtual these days, but if you walk in the room and you see people huddled around the desk collaborating on an issue, it's like, that's 3 times the man hours right there that I need. I need one person doing that job.
Yep.
I seem to remember a certain boss of mine in the past saying exactly that. Love this. Thanks so much. I'd love to just bring Pinar into the conversation a little bit as well, because Pinar, you've obviously been talking to a ton of MSPs for many months about knowledge operations. We talk about documentation tools. We are introducing this term a little bit into the channel called knowledge operations. And some of the things that Adam was talking about, not only is it doing it within Lexful, we also have that MCP server sitting there. We can plug your other tools in and make that available to your other tools. If you have agentic AI solving tickets for you right now, Lexful could be the perfect database to give some extra RAG information to that agent. So, Pinar, you've been talking about knowledge operations. You've seen this sort of rapid adoption of these AI first tools during this year, during last year. Can you share a couple of aspects that you've sort of had in conversation with MSPs when you're talking to them at booths and meeting them on the road? What are a few things that excite people about Lexful?
Sure. Firstly, AI really changed the how we do documentation, right? Like, so documentation used to be repository. It's one of those things people just put it there, nobody used it, it's always stale. And now with AI, knowledge really became the uh, foundation for AI. It's the context for automation, and it's really the foundation for decision making at scale, right? Execution at scale. So uh, when we talk with MSPs, two things. They first get excited about the same old problems that they had for a very long time, nothing to do with AI. We can solve with AI, but they are super excited suddenly being able to find things that they never could find, right? Like in the day-to-day life of a technician, it's usually, hey, let me try to search for this for 10 minutes. I cannot find it. And then I ping the senior technician, right, on Teams. And there's a lot of wasted effort here. And if you add all of these from a P&L perspective, it really hits your margin. So these are the good old problems that you always had that you fix with Lexful. But that's really just the starting point, because now we are in the AI era. And as I mentioned in the beginning, AI has fundamentally changed the role of documentation. And now structured knowledge is the food that feeds your agents, your agentic workforce, all the cool stuff that you want to do. So MSPs start with, hey, how can I fix my broken search? Like my documents are not up to date. And then, oh, wow, like this is also something that's going to really give us an unfair advantage that will really, Lexful can be that partner for us, not just a vendor that's going to take us and leapfrog us in this AI journey. So when I'm hearing Stephen and Joe, like that's what excites me. These are the future forward MSPs of our current generation. And we are really, our hope is to be the perfect partner to these MSPs who are not only fixing the same old that they already were suffering, but also utilizing us as that part of that modern stack for the modern MSP when the whole world is changing around us, including within the MSP ecosystem.
Yeah, love that. Yeah, thank you so much. And I got caught up in this personally. I'm just like, I could not think of a better place for me to be right now and helping to fuel that vision and manage the product now. So it's super cool. I'm actually surprised we haven't got many questions from the audience right now, but we're at sort of, quarter of an hour to go. This is the normal time. We'd love to do some Q&A, but we need some Qs if we're going to A them. That didn't sound as rude, did it? Um, Never said that in my life before. So if you do
The
have any
t-shirt
questions,
waiting to happen.
if you do have any questions, we'd love to hear from them. We can talk for hours. All of us on this call share one common trait. We all love to chat. That's why we're on a webinar presenting. But I really want to hear from the crowd if you'd like to pop something in. So as we do that, I just wondered if we could, like, one of the reasons why we do a webinar like this is we want to introduce Lexful to our audience and to our prospective buyers, and they're looking for the right tools and loved what, you were challenging us on, Joe, and oh gosh, something just crashed on my computer there. That's irrelevant. I think we're still up on Zoom. Good. Loved what you're talking about with getting more outcome focused in your business. And so as MSPs, we can quite often be very tools focused. And, we've all been at all the events and buying new cool shiny toys. And, here comes Lexful, another tool. I would love to just maybe hear from anybody on the panel and a little bit about what criteria you might use to purchase a piece of software for your business or even in your personal life, a little bit, because I think people on this webinar or watching the recording are thinking, oh, do I want to buy Lexful for my business? What are some of the criteria that are really important? And I think outcome focus is a great frame to start.
Yeah, I really think one of the things that came to mind hearing you guys chat earlier, and is really that the value, one of the things, the value of your business as an MSP is really in your processes and your documentation. Your company needs to be able to run without you and without tribal knowledge. And a big leap forward in that, a tool like Lexful is giving you that unfair advantage. And I like to say two things really that I repeat a lot when I'm talking about Lexful. One, we get to have a conversation with our data. And, Adam mentioned an example of that earlier. We're not just looking up an item, we're able to generate outcomes and have a conversation with it. And that ability for Adam to get from a question to an outcome shortens the time to being able to bring that to the customer. And I think coming back to that value proposition, we can create SOPs, standard operating procedures from thin air. I just did one last week. We needed to reboot, our cyber insurance renewal and, application process. And I just asked Lex to take a little bit of information I had and create an SOP for it. Boom, ready to go. So never before was there an opportunity that was easier for an MSP to start creating those repeatable processes than now. And I think whether it's Lexful or any other tool, that's probably the most key thing. One, is the company going to partner with you for your success? Lexful, I think as Stephen leaned into, has definitely been that for all of us. But I think the other piece is it giving you that unfair advantage? Is that tool enabling you? Because data is key today. How is it enabling you to take advantage of that data that platform holds?
Yeah, love it. Thank you.
Yeah,
We do have a couple of questions we go to, but I'd love Stephen to address that as well, or any.
Yeah, I think everything you just said, Joe, is like basically what we're doing is how well do we partner with the vendor, and how open is the API connectivity? Because Tom, you mentioned the MCP server, and the Lexful MCP server is probably one of the most powerful tools that we use on a daily basis. Probably even more than the actual interface itself now at this point. I can give an example, but thinking about creating this, you were talking about skills, and our team created skills inside of Claude or inside of ChatGPT to be able to take an email and document it in Lexful. So things that were the thing that allowed us to really select the right partners, like the integration, the API, the connectivity, how easy to work with it, how is it going to change my business and give us that unfair advantage, to the point now where if we don't get the open access and collaboration, we will cancel with vendors, because it's that important to the daily operations of our MSP now to be able to talk to our data and get meaningful results out of it to deliver those outcomes to our clients. And I saw one of the questions because I was eyeing the chat, which made me think of a thing the other day, which made me feel like I knew that I made the right decision with changing my documentation, is when my team was like, they took ISP change, things that I would always have to say, like, did you document that? They were like, I created a skill and I documented it in Lexful already. And now the AI is documenting things for us. Oh, I had a conversation with a client and I took the transcript and I made an SOP out of it. It's in Lexful. And Lexful becomes the home for not only our AI documentation, but our people documentation. And the documentation is now being done in a more detailed and structured way than anybody had ever documented before. And
Beautiful.
I think it's super powerful.
Love that. Yeah. And when I was leading a team in an MSP and I was one of the documentation champions, surprise, surprise, I was always so frustrated. It's like, I don't need you to create this perfect SOP out of the thing with like 4 pages and screenshots and beautiful branding and all that. So I just need to get that stuff that was in your head out of that ticket you just did and dump it into a document, both for your future self and your team. So when they go in, they're now at least 3 steps ahead of where you were when you just ground zeroed a troubleshooting step. And then we can iterate on that document. And so it was all about trying to find a solution where you can find a document, create it quickly and iterate on it. And AI literally just, I mean, even me as a documentation fanatic used to kind of put 2 hours at the end of my week to go and document everything I'd done
Well,
and still not do
that's
it.
the thing. Well, that's the thing. Everybody had to, I have to have time to set aside to do the documentation. And now it's
Absolutely.
not, I don't have, I used to think about
Yeah,
the quality and the outcome of the documentation I'm looking to get, but I don't have to put the brain power into creating the document. And when the
totally.
AI is doing it with the right skills and in combination with Lex, it is useful to everybody. And
Totally.
Well,
that's your
yeah.
process
What you're
optimization and
speaking to
process
really,
improvement.
Stephen, is that friction, right? That gets removed. There's always
Mhm.
a reason why I didn't do that. And
100%.
Lexful removes that friction. And I think
Mhm.
that's important for us to think about, because as we talk about those other tools, like we're certainly using some tools at service desk layer. We want to ground those tools on a single source of truth. But if
Mhm.
it's not documented, then it's not going to be able to solve the problem.
Hmm.
2 years ago, when we started this journey, I challenged the team, like, we need to get data in. We need, the more data we have, the more powerful this situation is going to be. Lexwell didn't exist 2 years ago. So it does now. So, and there's no time like the present to get started. And I think one thing I wanted to say, like you mentioned about prompting earlier, one of our head architects, something he says, which is just so simple. And I want, if take nothing else home, take this: get started today, just ask.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
when you ask the AI, it's going to tell you not only the answer, but it's going to show you what other things it could do with that answer. Hey,
Yep.
would you like to do this? Would you like to do that? And in that process, you're going to learn. And so just ask Lex.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Mic drop.
Love it. Thank you. That is a mic drop. And with that, I want to transition. There are some more questions here, which we haven't fully got to. I just want to call out Hannah's, which is not one we're going to answer on the webinar, but it's actually a question I personally love. I'm a product manager. I really care about a product. And she rightfully asked, not to be on the negative
Yeah.
side, but what are Lexful's weak points? Maybe things your current users ask you to put in production are on the roadmap. I could spend 2 hours with you, Hannah, one-on-one on that. I'm not going to in the webinar, but just want to say, please do engage with our sales team, get a demo, get it up and running, have a look at Lexful, start answering that question for yourself, and we'd love to engage with you over the coming weeks. I think we've answered most things here, and we're going to hand over to Pinar in a second to close us out. Yep, I
So
think
I
we.
do want to
Yeah.
there is a question I'm actually also pretty interested. So one of the biggest differentiators that we have is the skills, right? Like being able to automate
Hmm.
some of the tasks that you keep doing. So Joe, Steve, Adam, like what are some of the skills that you guys have built?
Oh, Jesus. Skills. I mean, there's a long list, but really it was for us, it was twofold. Like skills for us is about applying that template of what is our like what's important about our documentation to us. How long is it? How detailed is it? How is it structured? Those template abilities and the skills to reproduce it on a regular basis has been the most important thing. So like we made a skill that's called email to Lexful, ticket to Lexful, transcript to Lexful. We've made skills inside of Lexful on how we want documentation formatted, and that just allows us to be reproducible without me having to be the one doing the documentation or my document. I don't have a Tom being the guy saying you didn't document the right way. The system documents the right way because it knows how to document the right way. That's how
Yeah.
we use it on a daily basis.
Hmm.
Adam, how about you? Do you have some cool skills that you already deployed across the MSP?
I don't personally, but I do know that one of our engineers created some sort of networking skill, and he said that he really liked it. It's super useful. So but I haven't really seen it myself, to be honest with you. And
Sure.
we're
That's cool.
straddling, yeah, and we're also straddling to get our clients into Lexful, which is the final phase so we can finally be done with our last platform. Um,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but
And if
Yeah.
anyone's thinking about the next.
but what Stephen just said though, yeah, Stephen, you're making me think, oh crap, we should do that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Such a good
On the
idea.
client side of thing, Adam, we actually let our Streamline IT clients in, and they loved it immediately. Like we used to get tickets because how am I going to treat a client, a technician that works for my client doesn't know how Steve documents. So when they went into Lexful, I'm like, just ask Lex, and they were able to find documentation, and we stopped getting questions about, I can't find this password, I can't find this document, I can't find this license
Right.
that we used to document. They just
Hmm.
ask Lexful and it does it for them. And my team's not spending time supporting the system. We're supporting their business. And I
Yeah.
think that's super helpful, Pinar, on your point, like client, it's so easy that anybody can use it with not knowing how to prompt and just ask the question.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It frees up so much time.
Yeah. And so this was a fascinating conversation, guys. Thanks so much again, both to attendees, but also to our panelists. But I do want to answer, there's a question about client onboarding, if we have any flows and so on. So that is really the power of Lexful. So we have started with some of the skills, but easily this is going to more sophisticated skills, creating agents using multiple skills at the same time. And of course, I do know that when I talk with MSPs, client onboarding is one of the pain points because a lot of the clients come with missing documents, or for platform MSPs, when they acquire a new MSP, the MSP itself has missing documentation and a lot of junk throwers. So one of the things MSPs love doing at Lexful, and this is directly me talking with them, is two things. When they first come to Lexful, they go to Lexful and say, hey, audit my own documentation and give me the good, bad, and the ugly. Like, give me all the dedupes that I need to do, the stale documents that I haven't touched for the last 4 months, and also create a project plan for me to get this up to date. And it's going to help you with the templates, like creating it, like working with you. Same with client onboarding. Once you onboard a client, what you can do is immediately go, hey, audit my client documentation for NIST compliance. Give me what's missing. Help me fill in the missing documents, or if the documents exist but they are not good enough, create it for me. I was talking with an MSP this morning. They used an API to actually, so they have an intake form. So they send that intake form to the client. The client actually fills it out. And with an API, they pull all of those answers into Lexful automatically and use that as part of that onboarding journey. So that's the power of being a platform which is very API first. The front end is decoupled from the back end, both using RESTful APIs, the MCP servers. And I'm going to close it with, guys, even forget the product. We are here to be that partner of choice with you. We're here to innovate. And we are like I am an outside-in leader. We are creating a partner-crazed company. Like, we are here with you and for you. So my email is, pinar@lexful.ai. Just like, we actually listen to you, and we are here for the long run. And yes, migrating might be painful in the short run, but I urge you to think about the larger game in here, right? Yes, operations, your documentation, it might be like, oh, a couple of weeks of, like blah blah. But on the longer scheme of things, the world is changing. You need the right partner to take you in this AI era. And I can guarantee you that we are at least like doing our best to be that partner for you. So thank you so much.
Thank you for all our
Love it.
panelists. Thank you for everyone who's taking the time
Mm,
to join. There is a
thank
link
you
in the
guys.
chat to book a demo. We would love to see more. Thank you, team. I appreciate you all. We'll see you guys all on the other side.